What's going on, guys? It's Lance here. Got Kevin across from me, and this is the Fresh as Me Sports Podcast. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey, what's up, man? Feels like it's been about a month or two since we actually talked.
Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, about probably like 2-3 weeks since we've done something, but nonetheless, we're back here and we're ready to get started. So one of our main topics that we're going to be talking about is UFC214, which was very eventful, to say the least. I think you would agree with me, right?
Yeah, it was definitely the most stacked card of the year. You know, UFC has had some tough times over the past few months of putting together a card and keeping everyone healthy. But, you know, this one, no one pulled out. All five of the fights on the main card delivered. And, you know, there was no injuries. There was no subs. So it was nice to have a nice, healthy card for a change.
That, if I'm correct, I believe it was the third card that had 3 title fights.
Yes.
Of 2017, so I'm curious if that's going to be a new trend. But, so, you know, you had on the card, even the undercard was insane. I mean, I don't know if you watched it, but, you know, it was definitely thrilling. You know, there was Brian Ortega versus Morikano, which won a fight of the night. And it was a brawl. They were fighting each other, and all of a sudden, you know, Ortega got taken down, and he just won by, you know, guillotine. It was so fluid. It was amazing just how quickly the fight ended. And
yeah, I heard that fight was good. I didn't watch the prelims, but I heard the Ricardo Lamas Jason Knight fight was just as good.
Yeah, that fight, I don't know how Knight stood there. He took so many shots to the face and just stood there. I mean, you could tell he was done after the first few, but he ate a lot, and definitely, you know, if he was able to connect a few times, he might have, you know, knocked out Lamas, but who knows? I think he's still going to be relevant. He just needs to develop a little bit more. But going to the main card, though, you have Volkan Ozdemir versus Jimmy Manuwa.
That was probably the shock of the night, in my opinion, because, you know, you had Jimmy Manuwa, who was either going to face DC for the light heavyweight championship if John Jones wanted to take a tune-up fight, but, you know, you had him. If he would have won this fight, I guarantee you he would have been the number one contender to John Jones. Either that or Alexander Gustafsson. But, yeah, I mean, look at that. Seconds into the first round, a clear, nice knockout by Volkan Ozdemir. Just shocked. He got him in the clinch, connected with a nice right hook, followed up with a left hand, and then after that he was just lights out. He had no idea where he was.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that anybody didn't know that Volkan had the power. It was just that, you know, was he gonna knock out Manuwa? And, you know, obviously he did, but, you know, everybody was thinking, oh, Manuwa's this big guy, he can hang with Jones and Cormier, or at least he thinks he can. Well, apparently he could even hang with Volkan Ozdemir, so he got handed an L.
Yeah, but going into this fight, though, a lot of people were just thinking that, you know, it was going to be a clear win by Manuwa, but Volkan right now, he's actually looking like really good, man. So far, he's 15-1, and he just come an impressive knockout. He has a lot of knockout power. Most of his wins are by knockout, and, you know, maybe by next year we actually can have somebody that can possibly dethrone John Jones.
I mean, when he won this fight, he didn't even call out the winner of the championship fight. He's actually called out Alexander Gustafsson and said, you know, who's going to be the king of Europe? Is it going to be you or is it going to be me? So I would like to see that fight.
Definitely. It'll be a brawl again. Another brawl, which is good. I like the brawls.
But the question is, does Gustafsson take the fight knowing that what happened in the main event, which we'll talk about in a little bit if you don't already know. But,
all right, so let's move down the card, and then next up we have Robbie Lawler versus Donald Cerrone.
Yeah, that fight was interesting. I mean, you know, it definitely didn't take long for the fire in that fight just to kick off. I mean,
Robbie Lawler, I never seen a guy running faster across the octagon to punch Cerrone in the face.
I mean, I love watching Lawler fight. He's just such a brawler. I mean, it's hard not to like him. He always gives an entertaining fight. I mean, even, you know, he fought Rory McDonald 5 rounds and, you know, broke his nose in the first round and just... It was nothing but just trying to take each other's head off for 5 rounds, and, you know, that was awesome. Then he fought Condit, another, you know, brawl of a fight, which was, the outcome was questionable, but, you know, I'm not going to argue that at all. But, you know, nonetheless, he still puts on a performance, and, you know, the only person to beat him recently was Woodley, who was the champion. So, seeing, Robbie needed to redeem himself, especially if he wanted to be in the title picture again, and he definitely did it, even though most people might disagree and say that Cerrone won. What was your take on that? Who do you think won?
Oh, man, I actually thought Don Cerrone won. Because if you look at the second round, man, total strikes thrown and landed was Donald Cerrone, 31-9, and the second round was completely controlled by Donald. Robbie Lawler obviously won the first round. Donald Cerrone won the second, and the third round, it could have. And looking at it right now, total strikes 40-34 Cerrone, 31 for significant strikes.
Yeah, but look at he stuffed 5 takedowns.
No, I know. Yeah.
You also got to put that into consideration.
No, of course. I'm just saying. I just thought, either way, I thought. It
was definitely a close fight. I think they did get it right, though, because Robbie definitely came in and won the first round. Even though you could say Cerrone, with the takedown at the end of the first round, he could have won it. But
no, it clearly went to Robbie. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think most people could agree that. The second round, obviously, Cerrone won. I think the third round is where a lot of people were skeptical because it's Cerrone did more damage. But Lawler, I think, the thing is, a lot of people, they don't like to incorporate takedowns into judging. And it's like you kind of need to, especially when it comes up to the Woodley fight, which we'll talk about.
Yeah, that's a major factor.
But it's Cerrone was a great fighter. Definitely showed he could be a top contender. He definitely can hang up.
He just has to get over. I don't know what it is. Cerrone, I don't see him as a future champion because he takes a lot of fights. He fights a lot. He wins, but then he always loses the ones that probably set him up for, a title shot or a fight that will lead into an interim championship. He's 2 straight losses so far. His last fight, he got knocked out by Jorge Masvidal. That's why coming into this fight, I thought it was a perfect matchup. Robbie Lawler knocked out by Tyron Woodley. Donald Cerrone knocked out by Masvidal. Robbie Lawler comes out on top. Now we'll see how this takes place with the welterweight title.
I mean, I would definitely say after his loss, Cerrone, he's definitely in the picture still. The question is who you pair him up with next, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But going on to the next fight, you had Chris Cyborg versus Tanya. Was it
Evinger?
Evinger. I don't know why that name was.
And this was not for the featherweight championship. Okay, this was just for the Chris Cyborg championship. This whole division was made around this fighter right here. There's a reason why they made a 145, and this is because it's Chris Cyborg. That's all it is. She's a spectacle. She's a superstar. She's been around for years. She is the most badass female fighter on the planet. Everyone had that dream matchup between Cyborg and Ronda Rousey. That's out the window. And watching this fight, it was just a matter of time until Evinger's head was landed in the third row. And are you surprised this went 3 rounds? I am shocked this went 3 rounds.
Honestly, no. I mean, even watching Cyborg in her last fight, she's not loading up and trying to deliver all these blows. She's just fighting technical and just making sure
she was very technical this fight.
You could see that in her previous couple of fights that she's more of let's not take that much damage, but let's at least deal enough damage to win.
Yeah.
Not saying that the knockout isn't there, wouldn't be there, but especially you look at a lot of fighters nowadays. They always try to play the safer route where it's like let's try not to take a lot of damage, and to a certain extent you can't really blame them because it's like for instance, with you can even say with football, all these people post-retirement, they find out that they have all these brain conditions and stuff like that. So, it makes sense why they'd want to, why that might be running through their minds. But but then from a watcher's perspective, it's like, yeah, we want to see an entertaining fight. But we'll go more into that with the Woodley fight. Honestly, it's kind of hard to even talk about the women's featherweight division because there's only 3 fighters in the division right now. There's Tanya Evinger, Chris Cyborg, and Megan Anderson.
Holly Holm too. Holly Holm's
on paper right now, she's not considered. She's still considered a bantamweight. The thing is, if she switches division, she loses her ranking in bantamweight.
Dana White said backstage. I know we're getting very off topic trying to discuss this fight, but Dana White did say he spoke to Holly Holm backstage, pitched the idea about him.
Yeah, she said she was
her.
willing to take the. But my point is that until she actually signs the contract, she's technically not a featherweight.
Yeah, but that's the dream matchup of this division right now. It's Chris Cyborg versus Holly Holm.
Yeah, but does Holm take that? I mean, that's a division.
Yes, that's a championship fight.
But there's no depth in that division. What's the point? I mean, okay, so
it's the payday, man. She'll take it in a heartbeat.
Okay, but let's say they do that fight, and it happens. Whatever. Whoever wins, who do they fight? Tanya Evinger? That's what I'm saying. It's that or Megan Anderson. There's nobody else on the chart right now.
Yeah, that's why I said it's not the featherweight division. It's the Chris Cyborg division.
You know what they need to do?
It's just going to be. I don't think it's going to be a competitive division. Once she beats Holly Holmes, it's just going to be people being fed to Chris Cyborg, and that's going to be the spectacle. It's going to be how bad can Chris Cyborg kill another woman in the octagon?
Another woman?
Yeah.
But I don't know, like the thing that this division is going to do one or two things. It's either going to fall apart because of the lack of fighters in the division, or it's just going to, what they need to do, in my opinion, is what they did with the flyweight. They need to make a tournament where it's like, 16 people go down, fight, and it's a number one contender to fight Cyborg. Now here's the thing. All these people didn't want to fight Cyborg for the title. So why would they fight a number one contender tournament to fight her for a title?
Well,
so
it was only
that's the one problem with that.
It was only one person. I mean, there's a couple of people who don't want to fight her because of her steroid past. But at the same time, too, this, what you can do, this is down the line. We'll see what happens with it. I predict it's going to be Holly Holm versus Chris Cyborg, possibly December or November for the championship. And then from there, you could either feed her one or two more people, and then seeing how the bantamweight division goes, seeing if if Amanda Nunes can hold on to the belt. That's even another fight that I like to see. Amanda Nunes versus Chris Cyborg. I think that would be a blockbuster matchup.
Well, like a super fight?
Yeah, that'd be a super fight. If
so
Nunes goes up 10 pounds.
I don't think if they fight.
Cyborg can't go down 10 pounds. She could barely make 145. She's
well,
they'd
probably do like a catch weight. They'd probably do like 140.
Yeah, I can see a catch weight for that. But I mean, I think that's probably the most. That's the dream matchup unless Ronda Rousey somehow gets back. But I see her no way in hell coming back after losing 2 times. In an embarrassing fashion after the last one, coming back to fight Chris Cyborg just to be fed. And Cyborg hates Ronda Rousey. Don't forget all the mean shit that Ronda Rousey had called her in the past. She called her a man, called her a she-male and stuff. Chris Cyborg wants to knock her block off. So, and
I don't know if you just took away her head and looked at the rest of her. That kind of looks like a dude. I mean, no offense to her. I'm just saying she's very muscular. She, that's when you think of women's fighters, like they have muscle, but like she's like dude jacked. Like that's. Yeah, I've never seen a women's fighter like that before.
She's strong, man.
Like the only one who's I've seen looks similar to that, but she was also easily 100 pounds higher. Was that one?
Garcia. Are you talking about her?
She was the heavyweight. She was like Polish or Russian, whatever. She had like a buzz cut, but she was like this. She almost looked like Dan Henderson as a woman.
No, there's this one. Cyborg's best friend is Gabby Garcia. She was the one who used to fight MMA. She's like 6'3", 250 pounds, and she didn't have a good career because she's big, but in mixed martial arts, anything can happen. She really wasn't that good. But
yeah.
Featherweight side, we'll see how it goes. It's not the best division, but we get to see Chris Cyborg go in there and smash someone's face in, so that's cool with me.
I mean, until they actually sit there and actually find more people for a division, I don't think anybody's really going to care about it. It's going to end up
that's why you have the megastar and Chris Cyborg holding the belt. That was why they made the division.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but if she's kicking around cans the whole time in the division, it's going to be like Johnson in flyweight. Not that it's taking any away from her skill or his skill, but it's like
no, but I understand
until you find a really good contender to put him against, it's not really, it becomes unwatchable, and that's the one thing that kind of bothers me at UFC nowadays, because it's like, it's all about thrill, blood, punch, everything. It's not, not everybody appreciates the technical side of fighting. And with that being said, I'm going to go on to the next fight, which is a Tyron Woodley, Damian Maia fight, which personally, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good fight, even though most people would probably disagree with me.
Like me, I completely disagree with you.
Because here's the thing that a lot of people forget to mention. Now, based on the stats here, I believe it's wrong though, because I saw somewhere else where it was 3 more. It says that Tyron Woodley stuffed 21 takedowns. On another, where I read somewhere else, I don't know which one's more correct, but the other one said it was 24. So he stuffed over 20 takedowns. He's the boring fighter. The other dude landed 29 punches. The dude only threw 89 punches. Correction, 90 punches. Tyron Woodley threw 150 and only landed 57 with a shoulder that was injured. So to think that Woodley was really the problem in that fight is kind of messed up, because nobody mentions how Damian Maia, he was the boring fighter, because a lot of people have hatred towards Woodley. And I kind of disagree with that. I thought he played the way he needed to play. It wasn't, when you look at their styles and the way that they were going against each other, it wasn't going to be an exciting fight. If you thought it was going to be an exciting fight, then your aspect going into it was, people were misled if that was the case. Because even when you look at Damian Maia when he fought Anderson Silva, that wasn't a good fight based on people's opinions. That was statistically, like the way they fought, was exactly like this one. It was a striker versus somebody who's just going to try to backpack you and pull you to the floor. That's all it was. And the fact that Damian Maia threw no leg kicks throughout the fight made it even more boring, because Tyron Woodley didn't really have to defend against anything except a takedown. So, I don't know. I thought it was a little ridiculous. And, I don't know. What do you think about it?
The reason why we're not going to see GSP versus Tyron Woodley and Madison Square Garden, and instead we got Bisping versus GSP, is because of this fight right here. Damian Maia has the similar fighting style to GSP. GSP has better hands, better boxing, but when you go against Tyron Woodley has the best takedown defense in the UFC right now. Going into this, it wasn't going to be a boxing match. It wasn't going to be, a brawl. It was going to be Damian Maia trying to find a way to bring Tyron Woodley to the floor, try to make him submit. The reason why people are upset about this fight is because you have Tyron Woodley, 170 pounds. This guy looks like he's about 250. This guy is jacked to the gills. The guy's shoulders are about the size of my head. And people are just upset with it because, he's not this... granted, 2 fights ago he did, knock out Robbie Lawler, but you see this guy and you think he's a killer in the octagon. That's the casual fan. Understanding why Tyron Woodley was as tactical as he was is because Damian Maia's jiu-jitsu is very good. He was very, if that was his game plan, he wasn't going to go up there, throw hands with Tyron Woodley, and risk getting caught. He was going to try to take him down. 21 takedowns, that was the correct one. He blocked 21 takedowns from Damian Maia. And a lot of people are giving Woodley a lot of shit, especially, Dana White, too, which, we'll talk about in a second or two. But I thought it was a boring fight. I knew it was going to be a boring fight. I didn't expect it to be Lawler-Cerrone. I didn't expect it to be Cormier-Jones. It was just it was just a fight put together so they can possibly set up Woodley versus GSP.
I would compare it to the Cormier-Jones fight, because you have a wrestler going, you have a guy who wants to do grappling and submissions.
Yeah, but Cormier-Jones was more of a stand-up fight, though.
But look at the first... Yeah, this one was different, but you look at their first fight, it was very similar to the Maia Woodley fight.
No, there was a lot of strikes. It was DC...
It was a little bit more strikes, but that was also because the second party was actually firing back.
Yeah.
Damian Maia was throwing one punch and then shooting for a takedown every time. It was so predictable.
Well, yeah, but, Tyron Woodley wins by decision, 5 rounds. The crowd was booing. Dana White...
But here's the thing, though. Woodley fights almost identical to GSP. Wouldn't that be a better fight? Seeing who's the better...
No, because I don't agree, just because of, GSP is more of a get you to the ground type of guy.
So is Woodley. It's just the fact that Maia is not the person you want to be on the ground with.
Woodley's, he has wrestling background, but he's more of a stand-up fighter. And, GSP versus Michael Bisping is going to be Bisping trying to knock his head off, and George St. Pierre trying to, counter with that and bring him to the floor. That's the kind of the matchup. If they don't want to see GSP charge at Tyron Woodley,
but if you watch GSP fight, he fights just like Woody. He's patient. He tries not to get hurt. I mean, the same thing that everybody's saying about Woodley. If you look at everything that people are saying about Woodley now, they said it about GSP 5 years ago.
They
said the same. Just look at
GSP is boring as hell, in my opinion.
But my point is that to say that one isn't boring and the other one is.
I'm not saying. Look, Damian Maia, GSP, the jiu-jitsu fighters, to me, I'm not a fan of because it's very slow paced. It's tactical. You have to make sure you always make the right moves. Not everyone's Nick and Nate Diaz, where your jiu-jitsu is outstanding. At the same time, your boxing is the best in UFC as well. No one's like that. No one's like them. There's a reason for that. But so talking about Tyron Woodley, we had Dana White backstage. He had promised Woodley at the press conference 2 days prior. He said, the winner of this, if you win this fight, you get GSP 1-on-1 in Madison Square Garden. All you have to do is win. So then after, at the press conference, at the end of the pay-per-view, you go on. Dana White's very upset. He's complaining about the number of punches thrown. It was the lowest of all time in a 5-round fight. And he said, look, I'm not giving it to Woodley. Woodley's basically a boring champion. He does nothing to impress me. And he threw him under the bus. That's your champion. That's your welterweight champion right there. The guy's a company man. He does, analysts for the company. He does everything. I mean, the guy shows up. He fights. He doesn't really pull out. I don't think he's ever pulled out, to be honest with you. And, he does what the company asks him to do. And then you have Dana White just saying, okay, he's a boring fighter. He's not good. Good in a way where he sells fights.
Well, that's the thing that annoyed me. He was like, "Oh, Woodley's a boring fighter," but it's like, dude,
how can you say that?
It's like, yeah, you said the same exact thing about GSP. So that's what I'm saying. How do you really say that? It's going to be a different fight. If anything, put both of them together because then they're going to wrestle each other, they're going to strike each other. It's either somebody's going to get knocked out, somebody's going to be submitted because they're both high level.
Yes.
I feel like the Bisping GSP fight is very similar to the Maia Woodley fight because it's going to be one guy that's going to want to take you down, another guy that's going to want to knock your head off. So it's like, what's different?
Yeah.
The only thing is that, the Woodley Maia fight, at least Woodley defended his belt. He's defended his belt 3 times in the amount of time it took, Bisping to defend it once.
Yeah, it's just, because Tyron Woodley, he rubs people the wrong way just because, he claims that the reason why he's not as popular is because of the color of his skin. He complains that, he's not, he does everything that McGregor does, but he doesn't get the same love as McGregor. Woodley, be your own guy,
I feel like he's done more than McGregor, and he hasn't gotten promoted. I mean, I'm not going to say it's because of race or anything like that, because I truly don't know, but I would say there's a little bias, because if you look at when McGregor came in, since they started using him as a cash cow, who else have they favored?
No, of course. He's a golden child. The 2 golden childs, 3, is John Jones, Ronda Rousey, Conor McGregor.
But even Jones, he was like that one, but he was like in the back because of all of his
but I'm just saying, those are the 3 most marketable, not Ronda anymore, but those are the 3 most marketable because, just their personalities, they win, and but Woodley, people just don't find him exciting, and if you're not exciting and entertaining, why should a company, even if you're, this is why, like, one of the main things with this is because you can be a great fighter, but if you're boring, look at Mighty Mouse. Look at Tyron Woodley, for example. If you're a boring fighter, other people's words, if you're not exciting, if you don't have the charisma, if you're not entertaining, the UFC will not push you. They will not put you in the spotlight, and they'll put someone else there.
Yeah, but to blame one fighter over another isn't necessarily
fair. No, I don't think it's fair. That's why I'm agreeing with you.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you're gonna blame Woodley, blame Maia. If you're gonna blame Woodley, blame Thompson twice.
It was a match. Well, the Thompson fight, the first one was excellent, man. Regardless of it, it
was a little slow. The second one was, but the second one was
awful.
There was nothing. And the second one, they were similar. Just the second one, it was very slow. It was like the first one in slow motion. But so here's my question: Woodley won the belt. Obviously they said that he's not going to fight GSP. So who does he fight? Lawler?
Tyron Woodley?
Yeah. Does he fight Lawler? Or does he fight? I don't know who you put him against. To be honest.
Robbie Lawler wins. You're not putting him up against Stephen Thompson. Robbie Lawler's the only one. I'm looking at the standings right now.
I would say put Thompson against Cerrone. And put Lawler against.
You're putting a 6 against the 2. I would probably put.
They put the 6 against the 3.
Yeah, true. But that was, I guess so. Yeah.
You could do that. I mean, you can also do. I would say have Kelvin Gastelum get back to welterweight and have him fight Cerrone.
He can never make weight. Here's a name.
You said no. They were just talking about the other night that they were saying that he can make weight.
But I'm just saying.
It's whether the commission lets him do it
Yeah.
or not. That's the problem. Because that's why with Rene, was it Barrio, whatever. I was having a hard time saying his last name.
Mm-hmm.
He fought Sterling in the prelims, and it was supposed to be a bantamweight fight, but the California Commission was like, no, you have to prove you can go to 135 because he missed weight when he was supposed to fight Dillashaw. And, they were like, okay, you need to prove yourself. And that's why it was a catchweight. It was 140.
All right. Here's the name I'm going to throw at you with for Tyron Woodley. They've never fought before. There's not a lot of tape on him. But what would you feel about Tyron Woodley versus CM Punk for the belt?
What?
Hear me out. Okay, you get your big fight. You get CM Punk. He got paid a lot of money last fight. A lot of people tuned in. The pay-per-view did good. You can either say it was him or it was Stipe Miocic versus Overeem. But you have CM Punk. Okay, you have him. He wants a second fight. Why not just give Tyron? Throw him a bone. Here you go. Showcase your skill set. Be locked in a cage with this man for 5 rounds, for 25 minutes, and just knock his block off to shut the people up. And then you get a big payday out of it. How about that one?
I mean, at that point, why not just have Mick Foley be the special referee?
I wouldn't even put Mick Foley as a special guest referee. How about The Undertaker?
Not bad. Just like they fight with no referee mid-fight.
That's what I'm
just
saying.
goes dark and he appears and
then he comes, gives them both a double choke slam, puts CM Punk's arm over Tyron Woodley, and then you have CM Punk in a second ever fight winning the welterweight championship.
You know how the end of the fight when they go to announce the winner and they raise the hand? Instead of raising the hand, he gives the winner a choke slam?
Exactly. There you go. How about that? Tyron Woodley versus CM Punk. CM Punk he wants another
fight. That's what the owners
want. Yeah, put him against there, man.
But I would say for Woodley, put him against, you have Maya 1, Thompson 2, Lawler 3.
Robbie Lawler, have a rematch, man. That's the only thing that makes sense right now.
Cerrone Lawler?
No, Lawler versus Tyron Woodley. That's the only thing that makes sense right now.
But who does Cerrone fight then?
Cerrone, put him up against Stephen Thompson. I think that'll be a good matchup.
So
versus
put
boxing.
the 2 and 6 together.
Putting 2 and 6 together.
How about putting Carlos Condit against Cerrone? That would be a pretty good fight.
I would take Stephen Thompson versus Don Cerrone because I feel like that style matchup would be perfect for each other because you have the kickboxing who will just really approach you. I want to see how Don Cerrone tries to counter that. I believe that would be a good fight. I believe that could be, even a co-main event or that could be a fight night main event.
Well, what if they did Cerrone versus Condit and then they did Maya versus Thompson?
Oof.
I feel like that would be a good.
I don't want to see a 1 and 2 versus a 5 and 6 because I feel like both style matchups. It wouldn't be good for fight. I mean, I understand what you mean putting a 1 and 2.
Yeah, but when you look at the way their fights are and how the year's progressing, you need to put you need a couple welterweight fights towards the end. So. I mean, if anything, then you put, I would say, Cerrone fight Condit and Masvidal versus Thompson.
Masvidal just lost to Damian Maia, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So put him against Thompson, the number 2. But that's even questionable, though, because then it's like, okay, what about Robbie? Why does he get this shot?
Well, because he just came off, he was a former champion. He just came off a win against Don Cerrone. I mean, unless you want to do Robbie Lawler, Stephen Thompson, winner versus Tyron Woodley, but
that would be an interesting fight.
But I don't think UFC would go for a Tyron Woodley, Stephen Thompson 3. Basically 3 times in a year. That's why Frankie Edgar didn't get the shot against Jose Aldo. You lose to him two times already within not even a year span.
So I would say Lawler, Woodley, and then go Thompson Maia or Thompson. Masvidal. That actually, I feel like the Thompson Masvidal fight would be pretty good.
I would, yeah, because Masvidal's,
he'll stand there and throw hands. And
exactly.
You got Thompson with the karate, which is counter, so it'd be interesting. I feel like it wouldn't really be much on the ground.
Well, the welterweight looks good. All right, so you want to move on to the main event?
Of course.
We had the light heavyweight champion Daniel Cormier versus John Jones 2. This fight has been almost 2 years in the making for a rematch. Their first fight went 5 rounds. John Jones retained his light heavyweight championship, and we finally got it. John Jones, DC. What'd you think of the fight?
I mean, it definitely started very interesting. You had Cormier that just went out and clearly needed to, send a message. His only loss was to John Jones. And, he went out there. I mean, when you look at... See, it's weird. When you look back at the stats, he actually was being outstriked for most of the fight. But when you actually look at the fight itself, he was winning the fight for the first 3 rounds. I mean, it's kind of weird how Cormier lost. Like, when he took that kick, I started getting flashbacks when Ronda got kicked in the face. Because it was very similar. It was the same guard down kick in the face. And if you notice, Jones and Holly Holm are the same camp. So that kick is very similar. I mean, it was almost textbook same kick.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful the way it came. And I mean, you just by watching Cormier get hit with that, and you look at his eyes after that, it landed, there was no way he was recovering from that.
No, there's no way. He spun across the octagon. He couldn't really stand. He had spaghetti legs. And, I'm shocked. I really thought DC was going to win this one. I felt like John Jones was going to have ring rust, which he had 0. He came out, he looked like a stud. He looks like he's never left. Both guys were so motivated. And, to have John Jones to come out the winner, 2-0 against DC, by knockout too, the first time he's been knocked out. John Jones, if you think about it, he's not only given DC his only loss in the UFC, he's not only the only man to take down DC, but he's also the only man to knock out DC.
Yeah, and that's crazy.
He's basically, and I feel bad, DC after the fight, he was crying. He didn't know what to say. He was saying, if you lose both fights, it's not really a rivalry. So, did you hear about the reports today that DC is actually going to go back to heavyweight? He's not going to stay at light heavyweight anymore. Yeah, DC's going to heavyweight.
I didn't read about that. I don't know how. See, I disagree. I think he should go the other direction. He should go down to middleweight.
Because he really can't cut. He barely makes 205.
What does he walk around at? He's got to walk around at like
240, 230, yeah.
Why can't he cut down to, was it 185?
Yeah, that's a lot, man. That's 15 more. No, that's 20 more pounds.
See, I don't know. I mean, I think he should at least try. Because you know what it is? He wouldn't be outsized. That was his problem with John Jones. He was outsized.
Well, John Jones, don't forget, he's 6'4". He's 205 pounds, and he has the longest. He's tied for the longest reach against Stefan Struve, who's 7 feet tall. If John Jones didn't really have that reach, then who knows where it would be right now? Maybe it would be 2-0 DC, but no. Because where does DC go from here? I mean, he stays in the light heavyweight. I mean, he can still fight the same guys he's already fought, and then get a John Jones DC3. I feel like he's moved on. He realized, okay.
Wait, because even if he wins that fight, he's still, John still has that third one on him.
Yeah, exactly. So, you go to heavyweight, which heavyweight is scary because you have Cain Velasquez, you have Stipe Miocic, you have Overeem.
Cain's the only danger to Cain is himself.
Well, because he's never healthy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, isn't he set to fight Miocic for the title?
They're trying to slot that in at 217?
Yeah, so that's August, September. So that's the October card.
October card, yeah. But we'll see. He's still hurt, Velasquez. He still has,
Shocker.
Yeah. It just sucks, man. I feel for DC. I really wanted him to win this fight, but... congratulations, John Jones.
I mean, I bet even Dana White wanted him to win that fight because just
set up the rubber match.
Perspective, that's just money to be made. I mean, once he saw that kick, he was probably like, "Oh, he won a title. Fuck, I lost millions."
Yeah,
it's just like that's a whole nother fight he could have promoted.
Yeah, with John Jones now, can you say that now John Jones is officially the greatest light heavyweight of all time and possibly up there top 3 with the greatest fighters of all time?
I mean,
Look at the stats, man. He's beating
but if I'm
everybody.
correct, he's right now. I believe he's tied for number 1 in title defenses or titles, like winning the title matches. I forgot how they worded it, but I think that if he beats that stat, then he will be the greatest light heavyweight. Now, greatest fighter of all time. I don't know. See, it's kind of hard for that one because I'd like to see him fight a couple put it this way, if he went to heavyweight and won the heavyweight title, without a doubt, he's the best. There's no doubt about it.
Which he could do. His body is built as a heavyweight.
Yeah, but
He's
even he said that he doesn't want to fight Miocic. That stylistically, that's probably one of the worst fights.
Well, he doesn't.
Which I do agree with, but at the same time, it's like if you're really the best, fight the best. I mean, but at the same time, I understand why he was like wanting Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is the money fight.
That's the money fight.
More people know of him. He's a bigger promoter.
Speaking of that,
he had a whole organization that was promoting him for over 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, after the fight. Sorry, let's just go into that real quick. After the fight, John Jones, very classy. He went over. He congratulated DC. He said he's a champion. He's a good person. We got to see, the really nice side of John Jones. Went over, kissed DC on top of the head, and just said,
How cute.
Yeah, and then after he goes, and he calls out Brock Lesnar. He goes, I want Brock Lesnar next. If you want to see what it feels like to get your ass kicked by a guy who's 40 pounds lighter than you, come back to the octagon. And we got the next day, Brock Lesnar goes out and says, be careful what you wish for, kid. Imagine that fight, man. Yeah. Oh, my God.
I don't know why I pictured.
Oh my God!
I pictured
that fight.
Like the scene from the first Avengers with Hulk slamming Loki down a bunch of times.
Yeah, no,
I feel like that's what Lesnar would do with John Jones. You would just see him just get tossed around.
That would be an insane. I think if they set up John Jones, Brock Lesnar, they really market this fight and they promote it the right way, it could be the biggest buy in UFC history.
Well, I mean, they can't do like the good guy, bad guy thing, so it almost have to be like bad guy meets anti-hero.
I think that was perfect. I think John Jones would be the perfect bad guy, and then Lesnar.
So I feel like he'd be the anti-hero because it's like he needs to beat the steroid popping guy that.
Well, you can say the same exact thing about John Jones, though.
But John Jones has never been caught with steroids.
Lesnar was caught with an estrogen, which is basically, because don't forget he had his WWE run. He was taking estrogen, and he was just getting off his cycle of steroids, and it came up, it popped up. I'm not defending him. The cheater's a cheater. That's why that win went to a no contest against Mark Hunt. But, Brock Lesnar is still a freak of nature without roids, man. The guy is an absolute beast. He's 6'3", 285 pounds. He has very good wrestling. He has a lot of power. The only thing that would worry me is John Jones' stand-up, man. That reach. I feel like he would get inside, hit him with a couple leg kicks, and with that vicious elbow.
That's the same thing they said with Mark Hunt. He's got power and stuff. But it's just, once he grabs you and he puts you, he ragdolls you.
Yeah, if Lesnar brings you to the floor, good luck. There's no way. I mean, because don't forget, Lesnar's going to have so much more weight on John Jones. I feel like John Jones goes to heavyweight, he goes at 230 max. And even with that, Lesnar has 30 more pounds on him. So,
like, if Jones got taken down, the only way he's getting up is by like whispering sweet nothings in his ear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I we'll see where that fight goes. They're trying to target that for December. It's just Lesnar has to go through the testing pool with USADA, and if he goes through USADA and they clear him, then we get a super fight. And then, imagine McGregor is potentially supposed to be fighting in December. Imagine if you had McGregor.
Lesnar's supposed to fight in December?
No, that's the rumor that they want to do John Jones versus Lesnar.
They'd never be able to, though. He has 6 months suspension.
Yeah, that's why I don't know. All I know is that they're targeted
if he
December.
Fights, they'd probably put it for like next June.
March. Yeah, you think they would wait a whole year?
They would do like the beginning of the summer.
I feel like they would probably wait until like the beginning of the year, maybe March, April, because you don't want to leave John Jones off a card.
But think about it. Even if Lesnar activated tomorrow, so that's 6 months from August 2nd.
Well, don't forget he was served a year suspension.
He only served 6 months of it.
So he still has 6 months
that's what I'm
left.
saying. When he needs to active and stay suspended for 6 months and be tested for those 6 months.
So
if he did that,
active in
he's
February.
not even eligible until February.
Yeah,
February 2nd. If he did it tomorrow. And that's just not going to happen. It's going to be at least a couple weeks to see if that even happens. And after that, that's what I'm saying. if they do it, they're not. It's not going to happen until it's going to be like how Lesnar came in last summer. Not last summer. Well, actually, it wasn't last summer.
It was last UFC 200, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he's going to be that start of the summer fight. For them.
I mean, it would be a blockbuster. We'll see. That's something to talk about down the road. But that's a super fight right there, man. Jon Jones versus Brock Lesnar, and there's a lot of good matchups coming up. A lot of we're gonna finally have Dillashaw versus Cody Garbrandt. We're gonna have hopefully we have Velasquez versus Stipe Miocic to see who the real who's the most dominant in the heavyweight division. We'll finally get that Amanda Nunes fight as long as she blows her nose before it.
I'd like to see Ortega versus Yair Rodriguez. I feel like that would be a beautiful fight.
That would be perfect because you have Yair coming off a terrible loss against Frankie Edgar, and then you have Ortega right now on fire. I feel that'd be good. I like that.
With that, and you have two people who have decent ground game and good stand up. So I feel like it's just, I feel like it'd be an exciting fight. So now here's my last question before we start to wrap up this episode. Jon Jones won the fight. If he doesn't fight Brock Lesnar, because obviously if he does, it would probably be middle of next year, early next year. Who does he fight?
Alexander Gustafsson.
You
have to, because he's been the only guy to come as close as he did to beating him. They've only fought once. Have it the second rematch. Right now he looks good. He's coming off two.
Did you hear about Rumble coming out of retirement though?
Rumble said if the money was right, and because he got the itch watching the fight, he said those shots that DC threw and connected with Jon Jones, if that was Rumble throwing those punches, it would have been a wrap.
It would have been lights out.
Yeah.
That's why. So here's the thing. Say if he came out of retirement, does he step ahead of Gustafsson and get the fight?
I would do it. That's the money fight right there. I would do it in a heartbeat.
See, I feel like a lot of people. So here's the. If they do that, if Rumble comes out of retirement, I'd love to see him fight Jones and then put Ozdemir versus Gustafsson as the co-main event.
That's fine. Have that for well, I guess you can say the interim championship. I don't. You can just say number one contendership at that point. But don't forget, Rumble and Jones were supposed to fight 2 times. One time was because Jon Jones got into that legal trouble, and DC had to step in. And then when Jones was making his comeback, they were thinking about putting him against Rumble and then having the winner of that fight DC. And of course, that didn't work out.
Didn't Rumble get hurt for that fight or something like that? And that's why they put. Actually, no, Cormier got hurt because they said that was when the title was supposed to take place.
So.
And then they bumped it to UFC 200.
So yeah, I mean, this year, look, we have, there's not that many months left in the year. Okay, we're already in August. There's not that many shows coming up. We have 215, 216, 217, 218, I believe. Possibly 219.
Well, you have, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 pay-per-views. So you got 15, 16, 17, 18,
5,
and
yeah.
19.
So 219. So you're looking forward to a McGregor match. I don't know who he's fighting, but you're looking for that. You're looking for a nice heavyweight championship match.
If he doesn't retire.
Yeah. CM Punk, I know I was joking about him before, but he's actually going to get a fight this year. They were talking about that. He's gonna
be fighting the water boy.
Yeah, the guy throwing peanuts in the stands.
Fatos is really Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that's gonna be Adam Sandler's new movie. Yeah, this year, man, I feel like there's a lot of good fights left and a lot of good fights for the rest of the year. I still don't believe we saw fight of the year, and we have 5 more pay-per-views to go. Do you have anything to say? Like, what fight do you want to see this year?
This year? I mean, there's a couple. I like to see.
If you had to choose one, though. Potentially. All realistically, though. The
one that honestly stands out to me that I'd like to see. Well, actually, there's 2 I'd like to see. I'd like to see Ortega Rodriguez. Mm-hmm. And I'd also like to see Barboza versus Ferguson.
If you had to do those 2?
Yeah, I feel like those are personally 2 fights I'd like to see. Because I feel like those would be really good matchups. I'd also like to see Mike Perry fight somebody. Maybe like Jason Knight. Mm-hmm. I feel like that. That's the thing. Like all the bigger guys have fought each other before, so it's like you've kind of seen them.
Yeah,
you've got an idea what it's going to be, but like there's all these newer fighters that I kind of, they're definitely very interesting to watch. And
I'm looking for 3 fights the rest of the way. I feel like these 3 fights, one is I don't think will happen, but we'll see. I really want to see Garbrandt versus Dillashaw. There's still a lot of bad blood there. I want to know who the bantamweight champion truly is. I want to see if that one win over Cruz will carry over, or will he be hung over fighting Dillashaw. I really want to see Cain Velasquez for Stipe, because Stipe has just crushed every heavyweight that was put in front of him, and Velasquez, I believe, is the final test. And then, of course,
Cain's gonna like tear his ACL walking.
Yeah. As soon as when they put Vaseline, right there. Don't forget too, we get Dos Anjos versus Francis.
That French dude, right?
Yeah, we get to see him. I really, if he beats Dos Santos, he's Dos Santos, Junior Dos Santos.
Oh, well,
Dos
you're
Anjos
talking about the heavyweight. Okay,
yeah.
No, I thought you were talking about Dos Anjos. Did he set to fight somebody at UFC 216? I believe.
And then if we get McGregor, who do you put him up against? They're already talking about it's going to be Habib versus Ferguson in January. That opens up only one person, Nate Diaz, and maybe we get the trilogy to end the year. That's my wishful thinking. We get the trilogy. Conor McGregor has 2 massive paydays with Mayweather. Don't forget, we have Mayweather and McGregor coming up. I like how we didn't even bring that up, because that's how little I give a fuck. Well, I'm just saying, though. I completely forgot they're fighting each other in 25 days.
Do you hear about that? Dude, they released the tickets about a week ago?
Shit, dude. Yeah, they're not because they're ridiculous. Did you see on Ticketmaster?
The cheapest one's like $3,400.
From what I seen, last time I checked, I guess they might have lowered it, but the cheapest ticket available was $1,700, and that's for the fucking upper deck. No wonder why they're not selling.
Yeah, I think the lowest available. Well, not all the lower ones got bought. All of the uppers got bought, but I think the lowest one now is like $3,400, $3,600.
And just a quick rant. So they came out with their stupid promo. They're coming out, and you see Mayweather and McGregor walking to meet the middle, and then you have this fucking voiceover guy saying the fans asked for it, the fans demanded it, that we give what the fans really want. Who the fuck asked for this fight? Who asked for it?
All the McGregor fanboys like,
there's no way.
He cannot get, dude.
No.
Mayweather and all his fanboys were talking so much shit.
They were just saying about who the fuck would ask for this fight?
They were talking so much shit. No,
I want to meet one person who would choose.
The only people that asked for this fight were the Mayweather haters and the McGregor lovers. Those were the only 2 people. And it was like the extreme ones. Even the ones that knew McGregor was good were like, yo, this should not happen. A lot of people.
Yeah, look. You know me and you, we can go fucking war with each other about talking about Conor McGregor, but I don't want it. Like, I'm going to watch the fight because, our friend's having a party in his backyard, so of course I'm going to watch it, but $100 to see this fucking freak show, like, leading up to it, it feels so hokey, it feels so WWE-like, not even, WWE probably promote it better, it feels so TNA, like, I just can't wait for it to be over with. I can't wait for McGregor to get back into the octagon.
So here's my one question, and then we're gonna call an end to this because we kind of veered off into the unknown. Do you think it's gonna sell out?
No, I don't think it will. I think there's gonna be a lot of tickets available. They're gonna try to lower the price, and people are just not gonna pay that ridiculous amount.
Lucky for us. We got a bunch of people watching it, so we don't even have to. Even if all of us that are going to be there to watch it threw in $20, we wouldn't.
Not even
be able
$20.
to get
There's going to be a shit ton of people. Oh no, there's no way.
That's what I'm saying. The tickets are so expensive. 30 people could throw in $20.
Yeah,
and you wouldn't even be able to get the cheapest ticket available, which is fucking insane.
Yeah, I feel bad for No, actually, I don't feel bad for those assholes who went and bought all the tickets and tried to flip it for more money. Fuck you. You're stuck with that ticket.
Those people are stupid. If you really thought you could flip those tickets and thought there was money out of it, you deserve to take a hit on that. Because what was the pay-per-view sell for? $100?
$100, man.
That's insane. I wouldn't pay $100 to watch, I don't know.
I wouldn't pay $100 for a lot of things.
There's a lot of things I would pay $100 for. That isn't one of them.
Yes, exactly.
But on that note, it wraps this episode up. we're gonna start talking about baseball and stuff next week.
Yeah, we'll get Chris back on, talk about the trade deadline, the moves that were made, and then just break down what's going on in MLB right now.
And then the most anticipated thing for most of us, I know I'm excited. We got preseason starting and eventually regular season.
Preseason starts this week, am I right?
I believe Thursday is the first.
Yeah, thank God football
is
back, man.
Yeah, this is the last week without football for the rest of the year, which is a beautiful thing.
Beautiful, beautiful thing.
But with that being said, subscribe to support the channel. Follow us on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram for what we've been doing. We got a couple things going up. We got a shark video that's up. We'll post at the end of this. Also, when you get a chance, we have a featured channel. It's called Surfs Up Canada. Check them out. Pretty good. They're up and coming like us. On that note, I'm Lance.
I'm Kevin.
This is Fresh as Me Sports, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, good talking.